Hi everyone, it's Christina from Card Creations and More by C, and today we're going to be making another card. I'll show you my sample. It's going to be an A2 sized card. We're going to be using this flower vase cut from Country Life, and this is just a sample of the one that I've already made, and so you can kind of see how it's going to look. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's see, where do I want to start? My card base is going to be an A2 sized card, and we're going to go ahead and score it with the Martha Stewart scoreboard, and I'm just scoring it at 4 1/4. Okay, all I did was take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and cut it in half at 5.5 by 8.5, and then that's going to fold into a 4 1/4 size card. And this is from Paper Tray ink. I'm not really sure what color it's called. So anyway, it's going to make a nice thick card base. And our layers, we have 4 1/4 or 4 by 5 1/4 of the blue, and then 3.75 by 5 in this pink pattern paper. And then we have a couple of other layers. What I wanted to do first was add some texture to things. So what I want to do is use my Cuddle Bug, okay? And we're going to go ahead and do some polka dots on this yellow paper. And what I have is a Sizzix set that comes together. You get these polka dot ones, and then you also get this flower pattern, okay, together. And if you already have Swiss dots, that's okay, because these are slightly bigger than the Swiss dots. Okay, so they are a little bit bigger, so I'm finding that I'm actually liking to use both of them. What I'm going to do is put it in the folder and leave a little edge of the paper sticking up, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my A plate, then one B plate, and I've actually found that I get a better embossing with some folders if I use a little shim. So that's just a little piece of cardstock that just tightens it up a little bit, and you get a nice impression that way. And it still goes through the Cuddle Bug fine, because some of the folders just don't emboss as deeply as I would want them to. So now we have a nice deep embossing. Okay, you see that? Nice. Now the other thing I want to do is put a little texture on my flower vase. I decided not to cut out the stripes that go with it, so we're going to be using that other Sizzix folder with the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to do the same sandwich with the little paper shim and set that down. I want to make sure, one thing you want to make sure is when you're using one of your images and you want it to face the right way, you need to make sure that the part that's raised up is against the bottom of it, and that the part with the indents is going to be at the top. If you're doing a paper that doesn't matter what way it's going to end up facing, then it really doesn't matter. But otherwise you want to make sure you've got it going the right way. Unless, of course, you want a debossed image, but I wanted it to be embossed. So there we go. We've got a cute little pattern on our vase now. So we'll go ahead and set those folders aside and my plates. Get rid of the Cuddle Bug. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is, I'm going to use the back of this. I don't think it's going to matter. And I'm going to do a little bit of inking. I'm using a Stays On Cherry Pink ink and my Tim Holtz thing, but these are Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo sponges on it, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of color to my vase, a little bit darker pink color, to make those flowers stand out nicer and kind of give the vase a little bit of texture to it. Okay? Now I've learned a lot from Janice at Cricketology on not being afraid to use my inks, especially colored ones, to make things look prettier. So I've been doing a lot more inking, and I don't think it's going to matter. See, it's not going to matter on the back side of that sheet of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean off my sponge on that too. Okay, so now as you can see, our little flower vase looks a lot prettier and a lot more vibrant and textured. Okay, now next thing we'll do is adhere this layer down. So since I put my excess ink on it, I want to make sure that that part's going down into the card. Okay, ahead and lay that down before I get it mixed up. And I just have to center it nicely so that it looks good. I hate when you get the layer down and you realize it's completely crooked. Okay, that looks nice. Now the next part of our die cut, I actually want to get my cutter bee scissors. They're a little bit finer tipped than the Tim Holtz ones. And what we're going to do is, you can see when you're normally cutting this bottom layer out in Country Life, you want to do it the color that you want your leaves and stems to be, okay? But I want to get rid of the flowers that it cuts because I'm not using them. So I'm just going to modify this a little bit, and I'm going to actually carefully cut away the flowers from the stems. Okay, I already did earlier, and I'm going to be making several of this card with different sentiments that I'm going to take with me to my next crop club. So this way maybe I've got cards ready that I can just duplicate there instead of having to pack so much stuff with me. Okay, so now you can see we're left with just the little stems and the leaves, and then of course the vase part. So for my vase, I'm going to go ahead and use my Craft Bond glue for parts of it here. The handle, okay, just the part that's kind of daintier. And then we're going to use the Mono Aqua. This is an awesome glue. And it works great, especially when you're using it on images that have been put through the Cuttlebug, okay, or crimped or something like that. I'm just going to put a good amount on there, okay. See, there is quite a bit of glue there, but I think it'll be just fine. And then we want to go ahead and lay this down on top of our vase and just get it lined up well. Okay, we want to line up that handle first off, because that's the smallest part that would look silly if it wasn't lined up right. Okay, and then just press it in. And look at how pretty that looks. I'm really loving the look of that embossing folder. I like that that little flower pattern is small enough that you get a lot of it even on a small image like that. Okay, perfect. Then what we're going to do is work with our pieces here, and we're going to be using the Fisker's Apron Lace Border Punch. Just want to put a little border on this part of it. So we're just going to go ahead, and I'm centering the paper so that it, when I punch it, it's going to be centered, okay? And then if you don't know how to use these, see how you've got your pattern started? You bring it down to the end and you line it up so that the yellow that's on the border punch actually lines up with the pattern that you've punched. And then you know that you've got it lined up to get your continuous border, like so. And this is probably my favorite border punch at the moment. I really, really like it. I've been using it a ton. So what I want to do next is we're going to just put a little adhesive just going across this piece like that, okay? And then I'm going to line up my yellow or chartreuse or whatever color this actually is called, and I'm going to line it up leaving a little border of that blue, okay, like that. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere that down to our actual card. Okay? So we're going to go ahead like so. And then it's going to be on this mat, I'm going to line it up so that it's only leaving a little bit of pattern paper showing at the bottom. Like that. Okay? And then we want to trim off our sides. I like to use the Tim Holtz scissors when I'm cutting through more than one layer because they cut so well. I've gone through probably 5-6 layers of paper before when I've really been doing layering. Alright, and then I have this light yellow ribbon, gross green ribbon from the dollar store that I want to go ahead and use. And just gonna line that up like that. I'm gonna put that right about there. And then I'm going to line this up and I'm going to leave just a little bit of that yellow paper, a straight line showing across. And actually, sometimes when you're laying your ribbon down it moves on you, so I'm just going to fix that part a little bit. Make sure I've got a straight line. There. Okay, now I'm going to tape behind just to get that out of the way. Okay, and that's our main layer of our card. So I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow first. Actually, it's just a knot. Sorry, not a real bow. Tie that off like so. Go ahead and trim it. And we want to use the lighter so our edges don't fray. I just get my lighter from the dollar store. When it goes bad, I just get another one. They last for quite a long time. Okay, so that's our main layer of the card. Go ahead and add our adhesive. And just one strip down the center like that, okay? And I'm going to just lay this out and see how it looks. Try to get it centered on there pretty well. Okay, that looks cute. Really liking this little card design. It's kind of simple, but it's really sweet. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere our vase. And I'm not doing any pop dots because for my tops of my flowers, I'm going to be using stickers, and I don't really want to mess around with making the backs of them not be sticky and popping them up and everything. So I thought I would let the dimension come from the bow itself. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit of ATG to the back of this, and then the parts that I couldn't get, like the vase handle, I will do with my other glue. Same thing with the stems, just to get a little bit of adhesive on them. Okay, so that looks cute. I don't even really need my tweezers for this. And I'm just lining it up on the part of the ribbon where the bow isn't. Hopefully you can see this. And I'm just lining it straight up flush with the ribbon and then just pressing it down tightly. Okay, like that. The next thing we want to do is our sentiment. Okay, I'm going to lay my card out flat. And for this sentiment, I'm going to be using one of them from Emma's My Creative Time. It's called Wow, So Many Candles. It's all birthday sentiments. And I was having a little bit of trouble with her fancy font. Not so much on size stamped like this, but on some of her smaller ones, where I was having trouble getting it to stamp clearly. I was using Stampin' Up! Ink and StazOn ink, and I couldn't get it, so I wrote her about it, and she said that she uses Memento Tuxedo Black or Paper Tray Ink Black ink, and she wasn't having any problem, and she was so nice, and she actually sent me a Memento Ink Black ink pad so that I could try her stamps out with that, and I thought that was so sweet of her. I hated to even make any kind of a complaint, but I had a feeling that there must be some other technique I was missing because all of her other stamps were working great. So I'm just getting this nice and inked up, and it's going to go right up here in the corner of our card, right on top of the patterned paper. And look at how crisp and vibrant that is. I love it. And it works great on her small sentiments, so you don't have to worry about that. So thank you so much, Emma, for that. Okay. I had actually other colors of Memento, but not the black, so that's why I wasn't using it. Now for the flower tops, I'm using this pack of stickers. It's by Jolie's. It's just felt flowers that are stitched, and then they have little gemstones. So I'm just going to lay them down over top of the stems. And I'm using one of each color. There's like a yellow, a blue, and a pink, which is where I got the colors for my card from. Okay, and I'm gonna put that pink one right up top. So that's our card. Pretty simple, but isn't that so cute? And I'm just loving the different embossings, and just look at how that completely changed the vase just to emboss it, and then not only that, but to put the ink over top of it was just perfect. and great sentiment, and then I've got the inside to write on. So I'm making like 8 of these cards. I've already made one that was for somebody's grandmother's birthday, and then I'm just going to mix them up with different sentiments, but I've got 5 more to make that I'm just setting aside for when I go to my crop club, so that everything's already cut and ready to go. I've even already embossed everything, so all I would need to do, and I've inked my vase, is basically just assemble it at the crop. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm going to try to pick a few more cards to do that with. But hopefully you'll be seeing a little bit more often videos from me now. Anyway, thanks for watching.